Where did Jesus go 3 days? Between his death and resurrection. Bible mystery resolved. It is finished. These powerful words, spoken by Jesus in his final moments on the cross, are recorded in John 19:30. With these words, he bowed his head and surrendered his spirit. The Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, tell us that Jesus endured about 6 hours on the cross before he died. After his death, Jesus' body was taken down from the cross and lovingly prepared for burial by Joseph of Arimathea, with help from Nicodemus, a devoted follower. He was laid to rest in a tomb, where his body remained for 3 days. Then, on the 3rd day, something miraculous happened. His body and spirit reunited, and he rose from the dead. After his resurrection, Jesus appeared to his followers, starting with Mary Magdalene, and later ascended into heaven. But here's the fascinating part that has puzzled and intrigued believers for centuries. What happened during those 3 days between his death and resurrection? Where did Jesus go and what did he do? Let's explore these profound questions. The Bible, especially the Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, doesn't provide a detailed play-by-play of Jesus' activities during this time. This period is often called the Harrowing of Hell, or the descent into hell. While the Gospels focus on the events of the crucifixion and resurrection, what happened in between is largely pieced together through theological reflections and biblical clues. One of the most illuminating hints comes from a poignant moment on the cross. In Luke 23:42, one of the thieves crucified alongside Jesus asked, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Jesus replied, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." This exchange suggests that Jesus, after his death, went to paradise, often understood as heaven. This idea aligns beautifully with his final prayer. "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." Luke 23:46. In entrusting his spirit to God, it's implied that he ascended to the presence of the Father, a place of eternal love, peace, and glory. Yet there's another compelling perspective to consider. Where was Jesus between his death and resurrection? Insights from 1 Peter 3:18-21. Peter 3:18-20 gives us a fascinating glimpse into what Jesus may have been doing during the 3 days between his death and resurrection. "For Christ also suffered once for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, to bring you to God. He was put to death in the body, but made alive in the spirit. After being made alive, he went and made proclamation to the imprisoned spirits, to those who were disobedient long ago when God waited patiently in the days of Noah while the ark was being built. In it, only a few people, 8 in all, were saved through water." So, what does this mean? Scholars and theologians have offered 2 main interpretations. A proclamation to the spirits in prison. This passage may suggest that Jesus, after his death and before his resurrection, descended into Hades, often called hell in older translations, to make a proclamation to the imprisoned spirits. These spirits could be demonic beings who opposed God, errant angels who rebelled alongside Lucifer, or even human souls who were disobedient during Noah's time. Many believe these spirits were likely fallen angels, those who violated God's laws and were bound in chains of judgment, as referenced in Jude 1:6. The connection to Noah's flood suggests their rebellion occurred before or during that era. What did Jesus proclaim? The passage doesn't specify, but it seems unlikely to have been a message of salvation, as Hebrews 2:16 tells us that angels cannot be redeemed. Instead, many interpret this as Jesus declaring his victory over sin, death, and Satan, a triumphant announcement of his authority and conquest. An announcement of triumph. From this perspective, Jesus' descent into Hades wasn't to offer salvation, but to proclaim that the war was won. By his death, he broke the power of sin and death, crushing the enemy's stronghold. This interpretation emphasizes his victory as the foundation of redemption for all creation. Insights from Ephesians 4:8-10. Another clue about Jesus' activities comes from Ephesians 4:8-10. This is why it says, "When he ascended on high, he took many captives and gave gifts to his people." What does he ascended mean, except that he also descended to the lower earthly regions? He who descended is the very one who ascended higher than all the heavens, in order to fill the whole universe. Paul references Psalm 68:18 here, pointing to Jesus' descent into the lower earthly regions. This likely refers to his journey into the realm of the dead, where he may have liberated the righteous who had been awaiting salvation, such as Abraham, Moses, and other faithful believers, declared his victory over death, fulfilling his mission to reclaim authority over all creation. In this triumphant act, Jesus didn't just rise from the grave, he led captives free and ascended into heaven as the victorious King. These passages give us a glimpse into the profound spiritual work accomplished during those 3 days. While the exact details remain a mystery, one thing is clear. Jesus' victory over sin, death, and the powers of darkness was complete, paving the way for eternal life for all who believe in him. When Jesus ascended on high. When Jesus ascended on high, he took many captives. What does this mean? Many believe that after completing his work of salvation on the cross, Jesus gathered all the redeemed souls who were in paradise and led them to their permanent home in heaven. Among them were figures like Abraham, David, Joshua, Daniel, Lazarus, the thief on the cross, and countless others who had been justified by faith. In doing so, he transferred them from Hades, the temporary dwelling of the dead, to their eternal spiritual home. Another perspective on Ephesians 4 suggests that during the 3 days between his death and resurrection, Jesus waged a victorious battle against our spiritual enemies. He defeated the devil, conquered death, and broke the curse of sin. His ascent on high signifies his triumphant return to heaven as the victorious King. This interpretation aligns with Matthew 12:40, which states, "For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a huge fish, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth." While the Bible doesn't provide a detailed account of all that transpired during those 3 days, it does offer clues. Christian traditions vary in their interpretations, but Jesus' words on the cross offer a comforting assurance. "Today you will be with me in paradise." Luke 23:43. This statement reassures us that he entered paradise after proclaiming his victory over death and completing his redemptive mission. What do you think about these perspectives? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. God bless you.